Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Salt Lake City Snowhawks expansion franchise here on Madden 25. You see there Lucas McDonald going head-to-head here against Will Evans, two quarterbacks from a couple of draft classes ago. McDonald selected in the first round at 23rd overall. Will Evans there in the third round out of North Carolina, as he actually arguably has had the better start to his career compared to the first-round pick that is McDonald, as Evans over 4,000 passing yards last season and it's second in the NFL and off to a tremendous start this year with 18 touchdowns to just 3 interceptions, as he's carried the torch here for Sean McVay as Matthew Stafford promptly retired after the year one season. We're here on Thursday Night Football, a division battle here in the tough NFC West, as we're really struggling to supplant other teams at this stage, but we can turn that around in this game as we're now underway here, year 4 of this Snowhawks expansion franchise, as we're now here in week 9. The return here for Los Angeles as the Rams will take over at the 31. Good field position for the third-year quarterback out of North Carolina, Will Evans, his second year as the starter. As I said last year, over 4,000 passing yards his first season as a starting quarterback in the NFL, and this year just under 2,000 yards with a 6-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio, as we're going to try and falter that one here today, or corrupt that number, as we're going to try and pick him off a couple times. They will start out in the I formation they give for Williams. Quiddy Pay cannot bring him down there, as a strong run that time by Williams, as he says, hey, how you doing, to the Salt Lake City defense. Right out of the gate, 12 yards now, already up to the 43-yard line for the Rams. They come off a tough loss last time out against the 49ers, a 3-point defeat, as Evans there for Devontae Adams, and that will get 6. Puka Nacua, 8 receptions for 99 yards and 2 touchdowns last week, as he leads the NFL with 12 touchdowns already, as the Rams now 2nd and 4. And I just noticed we still have the 15-minute quarters on. We had those on because we were playing the key moments in the last episode, but we'll just roll with it. Usually we use 12, so we will have a longer game than most, but we're only going to simulate one game after this, so it's not going to be a long episode regardless. Now a 3rd and 3 at the 50. As a man in motion, now Evans over the middle, and that will be caught by Puka Nacua. Having someone like Pikachu makes it very easy to perform under center here in the NFL, now up to the 39-yard line. As Will Evans looking to find pay dirt for the Rams on this opening drive. Williams redirects there, and he's going to be swallowed up there by Jerry Sexton and Quay Walker, the top 2 leading tacklers in the NFL. Sexton in his 2nd season out of Washington, and Quay Walker his 2nd season after signing a 4-year contract a couple off seasons ago. Now another give for Williams, as he's met there by Dane Gilmore, our rookie out of Tennessee, one of our 2 first-round picks on this team. Good to see him come up in the box and make a stop and force another 3rd down, now 3rd and 6 at the 36. Nacua, the man in motion there, as Evans going to try and throw, as he does have a man there at the sideline, as that just goes over the head of Nacua. So our defense does get the stop there on 3rd down, going to force a 53-yard field goal, and it's been quite the ride for the Rams kicking this year. 3 different kickers have attempted a field goal for the Rams this season. This one from 53 is up, and that one is good as they take the early lead. Entering this game, Rams field goal kickers have been 5 out of 10, but Young Hui Koo getting there and getting that one through, as the Rams now the early lead on Thursday Night Football. And now the Snowhawks a chance to get on the board and answer, as Dak Kitchens will return that all the way up to the 34 and bring out Lucas McDonald as he battles a fellow quarterback out of the ACC from that same draft class. Will Evans from North Carolina, Lucas McDonald out of Georgia Tech. And he's 31st out of 32 starting quarterbacks this year with 7 touchdown passes, 9 interceptions. Not where you want to be, but he does make an impact with his legs. And he has improved in terms of decision making, I think, as the season has progressed. So hopefully we see more of that here today in our 2nd and final primetime game. And now McDonald off his back foot trying to get that for Andrews, but didn't have the strength. Christian McCaffrey suffered an injury last week and missed 4 games, and off the play action going to be brought down for the sack. That's none other than Jared Verse. Easy win there against Ikem Ekonwu at right tackle, and our pass blocking continues to be a huge struggle. We thought bringing in Colton Miller at left tackle and moving Ekonwu over to right tackle would shore things up, but really not the case, as now 3rd down, and that hits the hands of Dontavion Wicks. So a quick 4th down there for Salt Lake City, as Kenny Widmer, 4 interceptions there at corner, his 3rd season for the Rams. as he's second behind Fred Warner as the 49ers linebacker with 6 interceptions so far to start this season, not even into game 10. And now the Rams on the return as they'll take over again at the 32-yard line. And as I said, Puka Nacua does lead the NFL in touchdown catches with 12. Rashee Rice, the only other receiver with double-digit numbers in that stat, as now the Rams will start empty. A fresh drive here from the 32 as Van Ginkel wins off the edge, and he will get home, and that's going to go for a sack. An 8-yard loss. Van Ginkel, as I said last episode, has been a sack monster, and he continues that pass rush production. It's been a little inconsistent up front, but getting better as we go along with Van Ginkel and Joey Bosa really emerging off the edge. Definitely want to draft somebody to bring into the mix, though. Now Evans down 2nd and long, working to his right, being chased, and we'll just throw that one away. And a 3rd and a mile, and also Van Ginkel and Bosa both on expiring contracts, along with Xavier Thomas. So we could see a lot of turnover at DN going into next season. Evans now going to run, and he is going to get the first down on 3rd and 18. He gets 29 yards into Salt Lake City territory, and you cannot let that up. Evans not even necessarily a scrambler, and a devastating blow as we were set to force the punt deep in their own zone, but not the case. And now Evans off the fake, again going to run up the middle as he will be met there by Sexton, but elects to go for the dive, or the slide rather, and that was absolutely devastating. And it's now 2nd and 5. Salt Lake City showing pressure. Nacua to the bottom of the screen as a few do drop back, and now Evans had a man open but couldn't find him. After this game we play the Cincinnati Bengals, which will just be a quick sim, and then we'll sim through the bye week. So we'll pick it up next episode in week 11 with 7 games remaining on the schedule, and we get to stop there. Going to be 4th and 1 from the 38, and I would imagine they just go for it. That's Ben Murray, a top tight end, as he was drafted a couple years ago, already a superstar development at 83 overall, vertical threat. And I'm very shocked to see them punt there on 4th and 1, as that's going to go down to the 14. McDonald going to lead the offense again now, and hopefully we can sustain more, as we are without McCaffrey. So Tank Bigsby and Derrick Henry, going to see a heavier dose of them. And now McDonald in the pocket, goes to his 2nd read, and has Mark Andrews open towards the sideline as that one goes for 23. How refreshing to see Mark Andrews go beyond a 5-yard depth of target. If you've been following this franchise, you've seen that's been a huge struggle in our offense. And that one going to be thrown away as McDonald faced some pressure. Mark Andrews there in the motion man. Darnell Washington, also a tight end on the field for Salt Lake City. McDonald being chased from the backside, going to run, as he will get brought down by Verse, that time after 7. Make it 3rd and 3 from the 43 as Derrick Henry checks into the game. Also fullback back there with him. And we'll go for the fullback this time, and a nice surprise play call that time. That's going to go for 11. Davison, his 2nd year in the league, undrafted free agent, spent last season in New Orleans, and his first carry of the season, a big one at that, into Los Angeles territory. Now at the 46-yard line. McDonald, plenty of time to throw in the pocket, steps up and just throws that one away. Now 2nd down. They send the blitz, and McDonald had nowhere to go. He was not expecting that, nor was I, as that's going to be a big loss. Now setting us back to the 46-yard line, back into Snowhawks territory. A 3rd and a mile, but if Will Evans can run it for a first on 3rd and 18, maybe McDonald can too. As the pocket does collapse on him, he will take off and run. Will he get it? McDonald going for it, and he does get it. We speak it into existence, as McDonald and Evans matching long 3rd down conversions on the ground. And McDonald, of course, 93 speed. You would hope that he can come away with that conversion as he brings that dual threat ability. So a 1st down now at the 35-yard line. McDonald, as Bigsby did pick up the block. And again, we see a inconsistent pass down the field for McDonald, as he's had a huge tendency to overthrow his receivers, just sails past them, as we need that accuracy to improve. Now 2nd down. McDonald has Andrews, and that gets 6. 3rd and 4 now at the 29. Andrews there in motion, along there with Carlos Alvarez. McDonald over the middle for Andrews, as that was a big hit, and he could not hang on, so that will bring up a 46-yard field goal now for former Los Angeles Ram Joshua Carty. He has already missed 3 field goals this season, I think 8 for 11 entering this week. This one from the right hash up to tie the game, as that one is good. So 3:37 remaining in this first quarter. A nice drive put together there by the Snowhawks, as hopefully our defense can keep it going. Back out comes Will Evans, as we're all squared here towards the end of this first quarter. Even 15-minute quarters, I feel like, aren't that long. I mean, I guess we'll see how the rest plays out, but as Evans goes deep for Nakua, and another overthrow as Matthew Torrance, the man in coverage, seeing more looks as our slot corner with the emergence of Dale Gilmore on the back end. At the safety position now, Evans, another drop back and a roll to the right, and we'll throw that one away, being pressured by Van Ginkel. And we do have 2 first-round picks in this upcoming draft. Buffalo, I think, at 5 and 3, so that one probably going to be early 20s, mid-20s, as Evans again going to try and run, being chased, and up the sideline, Evans again using his legs to our detriment, converting on a 3rd and long, and it looked like we had him all but swallowed up in the backfield, but using his legs, using that speed, as Matthew Torrance, Van Ginkel in pursuit, but not fast enough, as his legs keep this drive going. Now at the 39. They'll get back to Williams. Haven't heard him in a while. Is Quay Walker there to stop him at the line? And as I was saying, with those 2 first-round picks, you know, maybe we even could trade one of them for maybe a stud cornerback, a stud pass rusher, if there happens to be one on the market. Back to the ground game. That's Gilmore, the rookie, coming off the edge, as he's really been coming on strong here in recent weeks. One of the pieces we have in place to take over a long-term starting position. We also have Jerry Sexton at linebacker. Now on 3rd down. Not going to use his legs this time, as he overshoots Puka Nakua there towards the sideline. And that one going to bring out the punt team again here for Los Angeles. Our defense holding up as they have most of the season. As that one from the 30 down to the 20 will be returned by Dak Kitchens. And so get that to the 27-yard line. So 1:25 now remaining in this first quarter. The Snowhawks a field goal last time out. Let's find Paydirt this time, though, as we seek our first division win of the season. We have one more matchup with the Rams remaining, and then I think one more with the Seahawks. So already 0-4 in division play. As we'll go for Bigsby, I think his first give, and so get that ahead for 5. And last year, just 1 division win, although only 4 on the season. So definitely need to pick it up, especially here in division play. As McDonald over the middle, that's going to be picked off behind Carlos Alvarez, the intended target. And we're talking about the inconsistent accuracy from Lucas McDonald on full display that time. Damone Clark, linebacker out of LSU, coming up with that interception. As a shift of momentum here, our defense was getting the job done. Thought our offense was going to start getting something going, or maybe out in front of Alvarez. I couldn't really tell from that angle, as it looked like it was out in front. So as we were saying, McDonald just a clear tendency to lead his man way too far, and that time it cost him for his 10th interception already of the season, as he's already approaching a career high in that category. Now the Rams, great field position taken over at the Snowhawks 36. Evans now to his second read as Nathan Scruggs jumping that one, but just gets the knockdown, couldn't get the interception. Now 2nd and 10. That's Evans for Murray, the one-handed snag as he was working towards the sideline. That's Ben Murray, former first-round pick out of Utah. 9 touchdowns last season as a rookie, as he's building on that year quite nicely now. Now 10 seconds remaining in the first quarter. 3rd and 5 at the 31. Evans being chased again by Van Ginkel as he gets rid of that one. So it looks like we will have a field goal attempt here to close out the first quarter, as the Rams trying to double their point total. And I wonder if they're going to rotate a different kicker. And as I said, 3 different kickers have attempted a field goal this season, but I think that is still Younghoe Koo, as that one is up and that one is good from 48, and it's now 6-3 Los Angeles. So with that, the first quarter has come to a close. Our defense has shown some flashes, particularly there. Andrew Van Ginkel had a sack, and he's made a huge impact, but offensively need to have more consistency, need to take care of the ball, and just need to be a little bit tighter on our passes, as turnovers have proven to be a detriment, a thorn in our side this season. And with all the questions surrounding McDonald as our future franchise quarterback, he really needs to be good down the stretch, facing a lot of scrutiny here, as that's Vince Willis, recently signed, as he comes in to fill the void of Christian McCaffrey, now the top pass-catching back on the roster. As McDonald now with Tank Bigsby, 2nd and 10 from the 28 to start this second quarter. McDonald's second read there, and that will be dropped. Tough one that time for Bigsby, just a man all over him. You got to think there might have been a better option there, even if you use your legs there if you're McDonald. And now on the drop back, third down. Going to fling that to the sideline, and that was out of the reach for Mark Andrews. And I don't know if that was really a catchable target there, as a really short field to work with on that side going towards the sideline. So a prompt punt here to start the second quarter. A big hit there on special teams, I believe from Jones, as Evans back out here for the Rams. Puka Nacua has been somewhat silent. Hopefully we can keep him quiet. I don't know how long that'll last though, as Evans off the fake. We'll just check that down. And that will be a nice tackle there by Max Melton that time for a TFL. 2nd and 11 now from the 33-yard line, as Williams will motion out wide. Evans now out there empty. 4-man rush for Salt Lake City. Trying to readjust in the pocket, and we'll just get rid of that one. Now another 3rd and long. Let's keep him contained, as that's over the head of Scruggs. I thought he was going to pick that off or knock it down, as it's going to be 67 yards to the house. Talk about keeping him contained. And that was not the case there. Sheldon Vick, former 5th-round pick out of Alabama, the 4th receiver on this Rams team. And Scruggs, I don't know what happened with him there. I don't know if he lost track of the ball or thought the play was dead, but he kind of just held up there when he did have the positioning. But a miscue like that, of course, serves to be a huge detriment. And that's the word I'm going to keep using, because we just keep shooting ourselves in the foot. And again, a 3rd and very long. The Rams get the conversion, not by way of first down, but by way of touchdown. 3-play, 66-yard drive, as the Rams find pay dirt for the first time in this game, and now lead by 10. And pressure starting to mount now for the Snowhawks, desperate for an answer of some sort. As now on the return is Dorian Golston, reserve running back, and he'll get that to the 29. And going back to that conversation about having 2 first-round picks, I mean, it's a very deep quarterback class, so that does present some flexibility if like we get some good value. As McDonald hears us talking about him, as he'll find Carlos Alvarez that time. I want to say that was for 26, as we get a big play that we needed. And Alvarez going to do a little back handspring, I think we're talking about there, showing the athleticism. 1st-round pick out of Florida State, has 5 touchdown catches, leading the way for our Snowhawks, as only 1 for McCaffrey and I think 1 for Marvin Harrison Jr., if I'm not mistaken. So not many on this team, but Alvarez has 5 out of the 7, and now a fresh set at the Rams 44. McDonald will give for Bigsby. Got to get the running game going at least a little bit as he gets another 5. Now 2nd and 5. Bigsby still the back, as Andrews motions towards the top of the screen. McDonald going to try and step up and run, has some space, as McDonald's still going, as he tried to steer towards the far side, but going to just bring that down to the turf, and we'll get that a first down to the 26. I think a 14-yard gain, if I'm not mistaken. Now a fresh set at the 26. Salt Lake City down 10, back for Bigsby, and again we'll get a solid gain that time for 3. Again, Vince Willis checks into the game, our 3rd down back, or our pass catching back, we'll say, and he'll get a carry here, trying to work it outside. Ran into the block and taken down for a loss. Willis essentially brought in fresh off the street, as he was a former pretty high draft pick. I think should have done more homework on him, but I think a 72 overall or so. Now on 3rd and 10, McDonald trying to run. We'll get 5, but not enough for the first down, which I do believe will bring out the field goal unit again. And this one from 38 for Joshua Carty to make it a 7-point deficit, which would be again a 1-possession game. As the kick is up, and it is good, as it's now 13-6 in favor of the Los Angeles Rams, as our defense tries to get another stop. Unlike the last drive where Will Evans tossed it 66 yards for Sheldon Vick on the game's first touchdown, Evans has been somewhat inconsistent, but he's converting in those 3rd downs, which can be paramount for an offense, paramount, for the difference of scoring points or not scoring points. You need to keep the drives going, obviously, especially on the 3rd and longs, as that time we get the interception. Jalen Thompson there with Matthew Torrance. They were kind of fighting over the ball. Jalen Thompson said, "Give me that." And now Salt Lake City takes it away from Will Evans. Jalen Thompson, his 2nd interception of the season. He had a pick 6 going back to, I think, week 2 or week 3. I want to say that was week 2 against Chicago, but a much needed turnover, as now each quarterback has thrown an interception. That time just throwing it up for Puka Nacua, but the double coverage closed in between the tandem of Matthew Torrance and Jalen Thompson. And now fresh off a field goal drive, a short field to work with for Lucas McDonald. And we do need to find some pay dirt. Let's get this game even as we're here 9:19 left in the first half of play. As Bigsby again the back, gonna see him most of the day. Does get the call up the middle and gets another 3. Now out in the I formation, Davison, the fullback, checks back in. And they do go back to the ground game up the middle as Tank Bigsby will find 11 yards. Cade Moreland there on the lead block, our second-year guard out of LSU. Drafted him at 11 or 10 overall in last year's draft. He came back as the top player in true talent. And now at the 32, back for Bigsby, and that time going to be contained. A 2-yard loss. Spates on the stop. 2nd and 12. Willis checks in back into the game, and he'll get another carry. As that time just a couple. 3rd and 10 now from the 32. You don't want to take a loss and get forced out of field goal range. McDonald, 4-man rush for the Rams. Going to step up some space to run. Will he get the first down? As he reaches for it, will not get it. Already up to 55 rushing yards now. 4th and inches from the 22. What are we going to do? And we'll take another look at that scramble as just short. And now they're going to go for it. 4th and inches from the 22. Have not had much faith in our short conversions here as Davison will not be able to fight ahead. He was able to convert on 3rd down earlier, but now we give it to him on 4th down. And I had my apprehension there because we've just been stopped on 4th and short so much already this season. I think they just give it for Derrick Henry. But, I mean, based on what happened earlier when we gave it to the fullback, I don't mind the call all that much. But I maybe even would have just took the points in that spot. I think that's the kind of game it's going to be. As now off the turnover, nothing doing for the Snowhawks. The Rams back out there taking over at the 22. A fake there for Williams. Evans, a man open but out of his reach. And we are going to catch a break that time. Now 2nd down, 6:20 remaining in the half. Nacua in motion towards the top of the screen. Evans in the pocket. Thought about running, and he does find a man up the sideline. That's the running back, Kyron Williams. Another huge gain as we're getting gashed here through the air at times. It's overall pretty steady, but when we're getting hit pretty bad. As the pocket was starting to collapse there from the interior, but that was Jerry Sexton, and he's not, even at 90 speed, he's not going to be able to catch up and keep up with Kyron Williams. And I don't know if Sean McVay is even the coach still for the Rams. It didn't look like that was him on the sideline. We'll have to double check that. And now the Rams all the way up to the 34-yard line. I mean, they're operating like they still have Sean McVay. As Evans now rolling to his left. Tries to just check that one down, incomplete. Now 2nd down, 5:32 left. Go back to the ground for Williams. Going to be brought down by Van Ginkel. Just 1 on the play. 3rd and 9. What a magic are they going to pull out this time? Although that is going to be backtracked a little bit off the false start. So 3rd and 14 coming up. Now that one pretty much out of field goal range, you would think, at the 55 if they punted from the similar territory earlier. Plenty of time to throw for Evans. Now trying to run out of danger and just runs deeper into it as Van Ginkel again gets home on the sack. I think his 2nd or 3rd multi-sack game of the season, and definitely out of field goal range at this point as we're able to survive despite that big play by to Kyron Williams before, as Van Ginkel has just been an absolute force for us, really our difference maker from our defensive line, really getting most of his looks off the edge at D end, but also playing off the ball a little bit as well. As another punt here for the Rams and the Snowhawks, a late chance here in the first half of play to add on to their total or hopefully tie it up, as they are going to take over at the 23-yard line. So we turned it over on downs last time. 4th and inches, could not get it. And 4:16 left in the half, trailing by a touchdown. And let's hopefully get something going here. We need to get Carlos Alvarez involved. Marvin Harrison Jr., he has just been a ghost on our offense this season, as right off the edge was Braden Fiske, I believe. The tackle for loss also Fields there in on the stop. And that's not how we wanted to start this drive. Backtrack now, 2nd and 13. McDonald underneath there for Mark Andrews, and that goes for 5. McDonald out there empty. Big play here. Throws to a man towards the sideline. It's going to be caught. Marvin Harrison Jr. right on cue. His first catch of the game goes down to the 41-yard line. We needed a big conversion in that spot, and he was the man who got the job done. And a good throw by McDonald, squeezing that one right where it needed to be. Marvin Harrison Jr. had about a step on his man. As that propels us now up to the 41-yard line as Willis again checks into the game at running back. Andrews the man in motion. McDonald going to pass. Rolling to his right now as he's not going to get anywhere except go backwards. Again, Jared Verse on the sack. That time a huge loss. That one going back 8 yards. And is Lucas McDonald injured? I think he is hurt, as that is going to bring in Chris Woodward, a former, I think, 5th-round pick out of Florida State, just his 2nd season. Won the backup job in the preseason over Jake Browning, as his first career pass attempt here is going to go incomplete. So I really hope that's nothing serious to McDonald, as Woodward's still out there now on this 3rd and very long. Could have used McDonald in this spot with his ability with his legs, as Woodward, more of a pocket passer, has a man there up the seam for Marvin Harrison Jr. And that's going to go for a huge gain. I want to say 35 yards. The first completion in the career of Chris Woodward. 5th-round pick from the 2025 or 2026 NFL draft. And Marvin Harrison Jr. his 2nd big-time catch on this drive. Thought he might take it all the way, as Chris Woodward here in relief, delivering a huge conversion, as we're now up to the 32-yard line, and that will take us to the 2-minute warning. So a huge development here from Snowhawk Stadium, as Lucas McDonald has been removed from the game for now. Chris Woodward, a 35-yard completion for his first in the NFL, as he's now going to go for another one there, and Wicks a little behind him trying the one-arm snag. Nothing doing, as that was incomplete, and it's now 2nd and 10, 1:58 left in the half. Woodward again from the pocket. That's going to go for Wicks that time. They'll hook up that one for 8. Now a 3rd and 2 as the clock keeps ticking. Woodward there for Bigsby, trying to go backwards to go forwards. Nothing doing. I hate those, especially like a long toss play on a 3rd and short. I hate going backwards to try and go forwards, as another field goal attempt settlement here for the Snowhawks. This one from 45 to make it a 4-point game. Josh McCarty up, and it is good. He's a perfect 3 for 3 so far. And let's see if our defense can keep the Rams off the scoreboard here in the final minute or so of this first half of play. 13-9, Lucas McDonald taken into the tunnel, as he'll be evaluated. Now the return for the Rams, as that'll be knocked down at the 29. So plenty of time here for Will Evans and the offense. One catch for 44 yards there for Kyron Williams, but did not amount to any points on that drive, as our defense came up with a few big plays, especially a sack there from Van Ginkel. And let's get more of that here. 1:14 left for the Rams. A couple timeouts. 71 yards to pay dirt. Evans in the pocket over the middle, and again offline, as we've seen some accuracy inconsistencies between he and McDonald in this game. Now 1:11 left. 2nd down. Evans going to just check that down to Williams. Not a bad decision, as he'll be pushed and mugged back. That's I think Jalen Thompson and Max Melton teaming up to force Williams back, but they do get 2 yards on the forward progress, as the clock will keep winding down, though. We don't mind that. 3rd and 8 from the 31. Evans will step up. Again on 3rd down, going to try and run, as he redirects, makes a man miss there in close quarters, and he'll slide ahead for the 1st. Evans has just been so effective here, and I don't know if I've mentioned that Bryce Young was brought in on a 5-year contract over the offseason, despite the success that Will Evans was having in that time with Ben Murray, the tight end we were talking about, as the Rams already burned their final timeout. So that's something I don't like about the AI. We are still on Madden 25, so hopefully that's something they fixed in further installments. Definitely going to get a new expansion franchise going once the new Madden comes out here this summer in a few months. But for now, we're going to try and get up to like 10 seasons with the Snowhawks, as they're on 1st down. Evans fires incomplete. Now at the 44, almost in field goal range. 17 seconds remaining. I mean, a stop in the field of play would be nice, though, for the Snowhawks, as Evans being chased, and we'll just throw that one away. Now 3rd down, and a stop, like I said, would probably end the half if we're able to get a tackle here, as Evans, again, just going to make a prompt decision to throw that one away. So 4th down. I'm not sure what they're going to do. Probably just punt it, as that will be the call. So it's going to take a little bit to get out of this first half, as probably going to have a punt here and then have to call a play, depending on the hang time, as that's only out for up there for a few seconds as Chris Woodward will take to the knee here as our Snowhawks trailing the Los Angeles Rams 13-9 in this division battle, 0-3 in the NFC West. Looking for our first win as we're trying to get back to 500 at 3-5 right now. As I keep saying, over the course of this season, don't want to sink too far beneath 500 as we're still in contention in the NFC West this season, but we definitely have to get over the hump against these teams, including the Los Angeles Rams. You see games around the league there as we're on Thursday Night Football, so no action right now, but the primetime games this year, the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday Night Football against the Broncos as they won the Super Bowl last season, the Broncos, and then on Monday Night Football, Buffalo at Baltimore, as we do own the Bills' first and second round pick in this year's draft. And it's also highlighting the Cleveland Browns at Seattle, as of course we're hoping the Browns can take down our division opponent. And then back to the Chiefs Broncos, as we talked about, as each of those teams have won a Super Bowl over the course of this franchise, I believe, but we need to get to the Super Bowl eventually. And before we get that far, we're going to have to get past the Los Angeles Rams, if not tonight, at some point on paper, on the field, on the standings. And this is all working up towards that as we're here to start the second half of play. Our Snowhawks down 13-9 as we'll see who the quarterback is going to be. Will it be Lucas McDonald coming back, or is it going to be Chris Woodward to lead us out the rest of the way? As it looks like it is going to be Chris Woodward, our second-year quarterback out of Florida State, former fifth-round pick. And he has not thrown a pass in the NFL until today, as he hooked up with Harrison Jr. earlier. So definitely depletes our window of opportunity of coming back, as we will go back through the air. And that's going to be Dontavion Wicks breaking an arm tackle, getting out of bounds at the 45. Or maybe Chris Woodward will pull the Tom Brady, and he'll seize the starting job and never look back and win like 8 Super Bowls with our Snowhawks. But back to the ground for Bigsby, as he's been pretty solid, getting like 3 to 5 each time, and we'll take that, especially on first down. And now 2nd and 6 from about midfield. Darnell Washington in motion to the bottom. Woodward, a quick one there for Washington. His first catch here in a couple weeks, as that will move the chains. And now to the Rams 45, back to the ground for Bigsby, as he was being chased by Fiske. Eventually got to him, just 1 yard gain. 2nd and 9 now at the 44, as Mark Andrews will motion back the other way. Chris Woodward in the pocket, reading downfield, still time to throw, trying to step up and nowhere to go, as a coverage sack that time. A lot of patience in the pocket, but it just collapsed after too long, and I just have to think there was really good coverage downfield for the Rams, as it looked like that was the case. Maybe could have forced something there to the left of Alvarez, out of the reach of the defenders, but of course Chris Woodward, his first taste of NFL action, as he needs to get his feet under him a little bit, has delivered some good passes, as now on third and 19, and he does not have the legs of McDonald or Evans to scramble for it here, as Woodward promptly brought down for another sack, and now his lack of mobility probably going to get exposed here. Not used to that under center for our Snowhawks offense, as that's Omar Spates getting home. A long 4th and 26, as Matt Ariza on for the punt, as he has recently come back after suffering an injury back in week 1. That one all the way down to the 14, as we do get the stop there. Los Angeles, their first drive here in the second half, leading by 4, as Will Evans will take over at the 21. Evans will give for Williams here to start this drive, as Evans a good gain up the middle for 8. Now 2nd and 2, Evans takes a snap, time to throw. Goes to his second read there at the sideline, and that will go for a short gain, but does get the first. Now at the 31, Evans, quick pass that time, as Nathan Scruggs was shot out of a cannon trying to jump that one, but he does force the incompletion. So now 10:05 left in the third quarter, 2nd down, as Evans making constant adjustments out there. Really seems to have a grasp on this offense. A nice one there, easy pitch and catch, as that'll set up a 3rd and 2. Now out in the I formation, as they'll go for Williams, and he does get ahead for the first down, gain of 6. Now up to the 45-yard line. I feel like our defense probably going to have to generate another turnover here at some point, especially with the inexperienced quarterback out there. As Jerry Sexton, a nice play there, filling the run lane. Now 2nd and 7 after the 3-yard gain. Evans will delay give there for Williams, and that's Sexton again in on the play. We've seen him just heat up down the stretch at times throughout this season, towards the end of the third quarter, early fourth quarter, He just seems to step it up a little bit, and we need that. Now 3rd and 8. Evans from the pocket. And he's going to be brought down for the sack. Look at Matthew Torrance whip around the edge there on the blitz. Tremendous short area quickness there. Change of direction to work around the arc point. I think he worked around the left tackle there who was holding up his block. And then gets home for the sack. Matthew Torrance, what a weapon he's emerging to be on this defense. The Snowhawks defense answers as now the Rams on for the punt from their own 39. And that one will be all the way down to the 12, returned by Kitchens, as the Snowhawks will take over at the 17-yard line. So Chris Woodward back out there. I think only 2 or 3 completions now to this point. Hopefully he's settled in a little bit. But we do have to start relying on the running game, I think, as we haven't ran it much. And we will not hear either. Woodward, a quick one off the blitz there, as he gets that for Carlos Alvarez, former teammate at Florida State. Both spent some time there with the Seminoles as they're reliving their old college days. And now a first down from the 28. Woodward again will hook up there with Marvin Harrison Jr., his 3rd catch, as that moves it ahead for 5 yards. 6:10 left in the 3rd quarter. Woodward again going to get a completion that time for Marvin Harrison Jr., as Woodward has been distributing the ball very well, kind of playing point guard out there. And the offense has been running fairly smooth, all things considered, now for Willis. As he gets another give, maybe his 3rd or 4th carry of the game. And I don't think he's gotten more than like 2 or 3. Now 2nd and 9, 5 minutes remaining. There goes Mark Andrews. Back the other way. And now Woodward. Again, going to be brought down for the sack, and our offensive line just getting tormented now. Again, Braden Fiske winning his battle off the edge. And Woodward, no time to think or scan back there, as Braden Fiske, his 2nd sack of the game. I think that was Spates coming from the middle. Also Jared Verse from the other side. So just really our tackles getting beat in this one. And Los Angeles very aggressive with the blitzes. See if we can counter here on another 3rd and a mile. That was going to go over the middle for, I'm not sure who, maybe Wicks, but knocked down at the line of scrimmage. So we are going to have to punt, and the Rams will take over at the 29-yard line. 4:07 left in the 3rd quarter. Not much action so far in this second half of play. Both defenses standing strong so far. Now a man in motion there for the Rams. They will fake it for Williams and check down to the motion man. And that's going to be a nice tackle by Sexton, only 2 yards. Total yards, 226 to 205 advantage, Los Angeles. Now for Williams. Good lead block that time. Try to work around the corner, but nothing doing. Gets a couple. Matthew Torrance on the stop. Less than 3 minutes now in the 3rd quarter. 3rd and 6. And Evans does find a man there towards the near sidelines. Rashid Shaheed, we have not heard him at all. Playing second fiddle now to Puka Nacua at this stage of his career. A fresh set of downs now for the Rams. Evans in the pocket, going to his left, and again going to be brought down for the sack. Each side in this game have just been stacking up the sacks. I think now 4 for our Snowhawks, 6 for the Rams, as that puts them back 2nd and 17. So it's really what team can avoid getting sacked at this point. Although now our Snowhawks down 4 points down the stretch. I don't know if they're even going to try any field goals at this point. Evans now underneath. We'll have Puka Nacua, and even with the superstar X-Factor ability, will not make it to the first, but sets up a much more manageable 3rd and 2 now, as they are back out in the I formation. Salt Lake City stacking the line, as the Rams do fake it for Williams. Over the middle, and that's behind, I think that was Ben Murray, the tight end we keep talking about, as the Rams miss an opportunity there. Going to punt now from the 48-yard line, as the Snowhawks another chance to get some points here as we head towards the end of this 3rd quarter. That one just going to go out of bounds. I think a net of like 26. So now Chris Woodward, a few series to get his feet under him, get settled in. Let's see if he has the clutch gene, as Tank Bixby abruptly greeted off the exchange. Another loss for our offense. 20 seconds left in the 3rd. Woodward will give back for Bigsby, as this time we'll get a gain. Going to be 3rd and 5, and that will take us into the 4th quarter. Was just waiting for the cue. So 13-9, no scoring there in the 3rd quarter, as the Snowhawks now onto their backup quarterback, Chris Woodward, his first appearance in the NFL, former 5th-round pick out of Florida State. Can he lead the late game-winning drive in his NFL debut. It's going to come all down to this fourth quarter of play as our Snowhawks looking for win number 4 to match last year's win total. That would be such a huge step forward at about the halfway point of this year 4 season. Our goal was 7 wins this season, so we are kind of nearing that. But a win here, of course, would do so much for us, as Mark Andrews not going to get the first down there. Already deep in our own territory, so not going to go for it, as Matt Ariza back out there for another punt. And we are going to have to try and hold the Rams again. A touchdown by LA at this point, you would think, puts the game out of reach just based on our inability to move the ball. As good coverage that time. The Rams again going to come back out on offense, taking over at the 27. Will Evans has been up and down, but enough to get this team out in front to this point. As now at the 27, fake it for Williams. Will keep it, as he has been using his legs quite often in this one. It's been a while, though. Does get 8 that time, and now the Rams over 100 yards. Our Snowhawks rushing defense, very good, just 7th, or not just 7th, but 7th on the NFL board at this point in the year. So 2nd and 2 now, Evans. Time to throw. Bosa trying to work around the edge as Van Ginkel again disengages from his block. And the 3rd sack from Andrew Van Ginkel. So these slow sims, offer up such a mixed variety of results, but sometimes it can just exploit certain players or certain matchups. As we see Van Ginkel getting home for the 3rd time in this game. I think our 5th team sack now. And as I mentioned, each team now, I think we've combined for a dozen sacks in this game. And, sometimes that just happens in the NFL. Will Evans now stepping up, throwing. And that's going to be knocked down. Good coverage there by Matthew Torrance. He's been quite busy that time working against Puka Nacua. And he's done a pretty good job defending one of the game's top receivers. As now another punt for the Rams. Puntapalooza in this one, as I like to say. And that one a good one, as that's going to be fair caught at the 27. So we have 73 yards to pay dirt, which would put us up a field goal. And that would certainly turn the tide late here, as Chris Woodward another chance to lead some points. As no, check that, Lucas McDonald now returns. So I don't know what the injury was. It wasn't letting me check. As McDonald, his first pass attempt back, will be brought down for the sack. So just as it's been going, Jared Verse, his 2nd or 3rd, I've lost count to this point. And I don't even know if it's worth putting McDonald out there if he's not 100%. McDonald now trying to roll to the right, off his back foot, going to be intercepted by Omar Spates. And what even was the point of that? He came in just to throw a pick. And just based on how Chris Woodward ran the offense and how smooth it was going, it just really leaves me thinking, is McDonald the guy? I came into this season 100% that McDonald was our franchise quarterback, but just look at that, off his back foot, across his body, lobbing that into the danger zone. And like I said, Woodward just seemed to have a much better grasp on the offense. And that's a huge late turnover. I mean, that was just the craziest, nonchalant type thing I've ever seen. As now Evans served up on a silver platter here at the 23. 13-9 Los Angeles on the drop back. Over the middle has a man open, and that's going to be caught for 6. My goodness, 2nd interception for McDonald, and he hasn't even been out there since the early to mid-2nd quarter. Now 11 interceptions on the season. I wonder what he would even, garner in the trade market. As quarterbacks always have high value, especially quarterbacks with upside. As Evans took a shot there for the end zone, incomplete. And the best news in this scenario, I mean, a field goal at least, it's still a touchdown deficit. As the Rams going to call an audible here. We got to get a stop first before we think about that. And now Evans is trying to set up a screen. They will get it for Williams. Plenty of space to run with some lead blocks. But a good path there taken by Scruggs as he forces Williams out at the sideline. 1st and goal now from the 7. I think the first time a team has been inside the 10, if I'm not mistaken, as Matthew Torrance a good stop that time. Now 2nd and goal. Evans out there empty. Over the middle on his 2nd read, and a good tackle there by Sexton, knocking that free. Ben Murray the intended target. Now 10:21 remaining, 3rd and goal. Evans working to his right now, chased by Van Ginkel, and make it a quartet of sacks for Van Ginkel. 7 sacks for the Rams, 6 for the Snowhawks. And maybe this is one of the downsides in playing a full 15-minute game, as some of the stats aren't going to be all that realistic, whereas some others are. But as I said earlier, not every game is going to be like this. unless we just see it, be a little more constant, but not a trend, just, one instance where just both sides have been getting so many sacks. But I also think that has to do with our young quarterbacks having low awareness, as that field goal is up, so it is a touchdown deficit now with 9:43 remaining. And I'm assuming Lucas McDonald will come back out there after that interception last time out. Hopefully we get a little bit better result, as we do need a touchdown here. Dak Kitchens on the return, and not a good one, as we'll take over at the 26-yard line. So Lucas McDonald ready to go, it looks like. Not sure what the injury was, and I'm not sure I want to even know. But an interception on his last pass attempt. Had one earlier to Damone Clark, and we need to just do better, as Omar Spates that time on the second one. So both of his interceptions to linebackers. Let's just try to stretch the boundary a little bit and work the perimeter of the field. 16-9 Rams, 9:39 remaining in this Week 9 affair for Bigsby. Get some blocks there, get some room off the block, fumbles. And I think he does get it back, but I think that might have been ground forced anyway. My goodness, that would have been bad to just cough it up here. Now 2nd and 4. McDonald does give back for Bigsby, as he has the first down up the middle. Now 8:30 remaining in the game. McDonald on the drop back. Gonna step up and run, and does have some space, breaks a tackle, and he works ahead for 17 on the scramble. So we just want him to be a little more decisive like he was in those spots where he's gonna run it or continue to look at options down the field. And now this time a delay give for Bigsby, as again some space, as a run blocking again like last week has been getting a little stronger as the game has worn on. 7 for Bigsby, now 2nd and 3, as Derrick Henry checks into the game. I don't think any carries yet for him, and he will not get one here, as McDonald to the near sideline almost had Mark Andrews in and out of his hands. Now 3rd and 3 from the 38, and we will go there for the running back we just signed, and he will just get ahead for the first down. That's Vince Willis, I believe. Should have done a little more research on him, but like I said, brought in fresh off the street, so has to get acclimated a little bit anyway. Now 1st down up to the 35. We'll check that down, and that goes for 8 to Dontavianowick. So the Snowhawks looking for the late game-tying drive as we hit the 6-minute mark in this 4th quarter. Rams up 16-9. McDonald plenty of time to throw this time. Second read has a man open, Carlos Alvarez, and that goes for 23 yards down to the 4-yard line. Couldn't quite finish, and I wish he could, just because I don't have much faith in our red zone offense or our goal line offense. And a good read that time for McDonald, checking off his initial target, finding Alvarez there towards the sideline, and now inside the 5. Let's just pound it in. We got Henry, we got Bigsby. One of these guys can get in. Also, Eddie Matthews, number 19, bottom of the screen, a 6'6" wide receiver we just drafted out of Oklahoma State. McDonald going to step up and run, and he does find pay dirt as McDonald checks back into the game late, throws the interception, but now orchestrates the late go-ahead drive. And like I've been harping on in past episodes, there's been a lot of scrutiny, a lot of controversy regarding his spot as our franchise quarterback, but if you put wins together, that's all put to bed. And now, pending the extra point, tied up here on Thursday Night Football. Some late drama here from Salt Lake City. And now a fresh game here, a fresh start from the Snowhawk Stadium. 5:12 remaining. Will Evans now trying to answer that Lucas McDonald rushing touchdown. 16-16 all here in Week 9, a big NFC West matchup. Evans time to throw, will fire that down the field, has a man open, and Nathan Scruggs loses his battle that time in man coverage. Good read that time from Evans, and right away the Rams answer back, not on the scoreboard, but by way of big play, as that was Allen, second-year man out of Texas. And now at the 23, just outside of the red zone, Evans going to find Allen again that time, as Scruggs getting burnt a little bit here. 2nd and 1 incoming. A very quick drive by the Rams, but I mean, if they're going to score, we'd rather it be quickly, although we don't want them to score at all. Now less than 4 minutes of game time. Evans again going to throw here, as that one just out of the reach. I think that was Allen again, the intended target, which now brings up 3rd and 1 from the 14. If they're stopped here, do they kick the field goal? As Evans going to be brought down for the sack. I don't think anymore at 4th and 6. Joey Bosa working off the edge, as we do have 2 poor offensive lines now that I think about it in this game, so that does kind of make sense, as Bosa takes his seat, sips some tea, And now a 36-yard field goal attempt for the Rams. Young Ku back out there as that one is up. And it is good as both kickers now perfect in this game. 19-16. And the offense, again, for Salt Lake City, going to have to answer a late deficit as the Snowhawks will take over at the 12. And McDonald, 7 for 18, 108 passing, 2 interceptions. Does have that rushing touchdown and probably about 70 rushing yards, so have to take that into account as well. But none of that matters. All that matters is if you can put our team ahead at this stage in the game. McDonald going to get swallowed up in the pocket again, try to step up, and now 8 sacks for the Rams. This is just getting ridiculous. And let me know if anyone has any suggestions for these slow simulations to kind of make it more realistic. As McDonald now in the pocket, time to throw, will step up and run. As he does have space, has the first down towards midfield. And Lucas McDonald taken down at the 50, now over 100 rushing yards. So I was a little off on my estimate. So 100 rushing yards on the ground, of course, for McDonald as we do hit the 2-minute warning. A 19-16 game here from Salt Lake City as the Rams have the late lead, but McDonald a little resurgence here since coming back out in place of Chris Woodward, who did a solid job relieving him. But now McDonald taking matters into his own hands. Half the field to work with 2 minutes and all your timeouts. McDonald on the drop back. We'll check that over for Tank Bigsby, and he can't break that initial tackle. Does get a positive gain, though. A broken tackle there would have been great to get some extra yardage. Now 2nd and 7, 90 seconds remaining. McDonald will have Darnell Washington. Not enough for the first down. They're going to bring up 3rd and 1 as we are going to start going no huddle. Late drama here from Salt Lake City. Our Snowhawks looking for our first division win of the season. McDonald, time to throw, and that was over the head. I'm not sure who the intended target was, but just as I've been saying, he's just been having these big misses. I think that was Tank Bigsby, I guess, the intended target. Now 4th and 1 at the 41, 101 remaining. It all comes down to this. Tank Bigsby up the middle does get the necessary space he needs for the first down as we're now up to the 37, 58 seconds. A touchdown here all but wins the game. McDonald will get for Bigsby. I'm not sure why we're running it. We still have 2 timeouts, and we do burn one, so now just 1 timeout remaining. Poor clock management, and that's one of the biggest reasons I don't like watching the AI here down the stretch. Just they don't know how to manage the clock. And down 3 here, that could obviously really bode bad for us, but down 3 here. Another give for Tank Bigsby, as it's a decent gain, but at what cost? As that burns about 10 more seconds off the clock. Now 3rd and 2. McDonald again going to run, and he can't get out of bounds, and we will burn our final timeout. So no more timeouts. 25 seconds from the 20. If we get tackled in the field of play, I thought he was going to run it. Oh my goodness. McDonald just going to throw that one away wisely, as I think we might be playing for overtime here. Now 20 seconds at the 20, and already going to kick it. With 20 seconds left, we're going for the field goal, as the Rams are going to ice him. I mean, worst case, you just run it, center it, and then spike it real quick to leave no time for the Rams. As now Joshua Carty out there for the 37-yard attempt to tie it up here late, as that is up and good. So battle of the field goals, a.k.a. Puntapalooza, in this one on Thursday Night Football, but now tied up late 19-19, and it looks like we have some overtime here for the first time in this Year 4 season, pending some late heroics here from the Rams, as they will kneel that, taking over at the 17. What a battle this has turned out to be between Will Evans and Lucas McDonald, two, like I said, quarterbacks from the same class, both out of the ACC. And now Evans, imagine a sack there, forced fumble, and then a scoop and score. As Young Ku, I think 3 out of 3 in this game. Same with Joshua Carty, or make it actually 4 out of 4. And there's now 12 seconds left. LA at the 30. Man there in motion is Allen. As Evans going to throw it here from the pocket. Over the middle has a man open, Puka Nacua. And 1 timeout burn there from Los Angeles. So that takes it up to the 44-yard line. And they do have a shot here. As Evans on the drop back. Probably going to be the last play, actually. Just going to heave that one deep. as that one is knocked down. My goodness, I thought it was caught. Oh my goodness. So end of regulation, finally some overtime here in year 4 as we were able to knot it up there 19-19 with a 10-point fourth quarter. Finally found pay dirt as Lucas McDonald came back, re-emerged in this game, came back from the dead, we'll say, as it's 19-19 into overtime. Thursday night football here on primetime as we are here for the coin toss, a rare coin toss here in Madden. You don't see these too often, as I believe they did take it away, or did they add it back? I don't even remember at this point, but it is up to the CPU as the Rams have won the toss, and of course they are going to elect to receive as we are here in overtime. So let's hope our defense stands strong here as the Rams are going to start from the 24-yard line. Good coverage that time on the kickoff. Derrick Henry, I think, out there making the tackle, putting him on special teams as a weapon, using that speed, strength, and that big body to just lay the wood a little bit. As Will Evans here trying to lead a game-winning drive for the Los Angeles Rams as they look for their 5th win of the season. Quick second read that time for Allen. That one goes for 8. Now 2nd and 2. Evans actually a blitz that time for Salt Lake City, and Evans just behind Puka Nacua. And now 3rd and 2 from the 32. Could have a big time stop. They go for Puka Nacua on the little sweep there, and he does get it. As now 301 yards for Will Evans as he eclipses 300 and just always stacking up the passing yard numbers. Now from the 40-yard line, fresh set for the Rams. Evans time to throw in the pocket, now being chased by Van Ginkel, and wisely that time. He does start to have some PTSD when he sees Van Ginkel running at him, and so he'll just get rid of it that time. And it's now 2nd and 10. I forget what the rules are in overtime. I think actually we will have a chance if they score a touchdown. I still have to brush up on that a little bit. Keep changing it. Van Ginkel will get home for the sack, his 5th of the day. That has to be a team record. 5 sacks in one game is just absolutely unreal. Destroying the right tackle out there. I'm not sure who that is. I think only 2 linemen on the Rams of at least 80 overall, so definitely a weak unit. And now 3rd and a mile. Evans in the pocket. Plenty of time. And going to be body slaying that time. Another sack. Make it 9 sacks now for the Salt Lake City Snowhawks as we have taken the lead in that category. That time, Draymond Jones, former Ohio State product, as we force the punt deep in the Rams territory now from the 25. So I think if we do score a touchdown here, we win, or any points maybe wins the game. I think that is the case as Kitchens will work that up to the 38. So McDonald, some late game heroics there in the 4th quarter. And now let's close it out with a win here, which would be our first division win. Let's put the Rams to 500 at 4-4. And let's also get our 4th win, as we do have the Cincinnati Bengals next week, starting with Derrick Henry and the fullback out there. Give for Henry, as he does have a lane and a good run that time, 7 yards. Good introduction for Henry. Definitely got to mix him in a little bit more. Got to throw him in some formation subs, especially in the absence of McCaffrey. Now 2nd and 3. Quick one there, as he has a wide open Marvin Harrison Jr. that time down to the 48. Now into Rams territory, as Tank Bigsby is the back, and he will get the call. Nice lane opens up as Mark Andrews trying to get that seal block, but not too effective. Does kind of get the job done, and we will take the 4 yards. Now 2nd and 6 as we go for Bigsby. A nice lane opens up for Tank Bigsby, trying to work it more outside as he shifted his direction, but a nice gain nonetheless. That is now down to the 36-yard line, and that is going to be a false start on the offense. So we were pretty much in fringe field goal territory, and now at this point a little bit knocked back, as that's the veteran Colton Miller out of UCLA from our 1st-round pick of the Raiders, traded for him this past offseason. And now back to the 41, Darnell Washington in motion as McDonald with it. He will give that for Darnell Washington. That recoups the penalty yardage and then some, as that will work it up to the 36-yard line. Now 2nd and 9. McDonald making some changes. Just take care of the football, please, and don't take a big sack. And he did not hear me, and so he'll do just that. So that's Jared Verse again, maybe his 3rd or 4th sack, as again we're knocked out of field goal range. 3rd and 17 at the 43. Probably need like 8 yards or so, 8 to 10 yards to feel comfortable, as McDonald will have that for Dontavion Wicks to put it to the 38-yard line. So it would be a 55, I'm sorry, a 55 50-yard field goal, which we are going to go for. So Joshua Carty, game on his foot against his former team, as the Rams will ice him. He's had plenty of struggles this season, but kind of like the case of McDonald, if you deliver in this big spot, that's all forgotten. So Joshua Carty from 55 yards in overtime against his former team on Thursday Night Football. That kick is up, and the kick is no good. Wide right, I do believe. And at this point, we're kind of thinking about just cutting Joshua Carty on an expiring contract. We have a nice kicker on the practice squad with Star Dev. And after that one, I think we might just go that route. As we had this game was ours to win, and we could not deliver. And now just 3:36 remaining, as we're not far from a tie. And I can't believe ties are still a thing here, but the Rams not thinking tie, as they'll give that for Williams just 2. And now 2nd and 8. Man, they're in motion for the Rams, as Evans fakes it for Williams. We'll check that to the near sideline, as that will be taken up to the 47. 3rd and 3 coming up. Rams now out in the I formation here on 3rd and short. And then we'll go for Williams. Good lead block that time, as Drew Sanders, a reserve linebacker, does get in on the stop, as that will take us to the 2-minute warning. So what seemed to be a game we were just about to win has now turned on us, and the Rams now threatening, as there's 2 minutes remaining in this game now at the 42-yard line. Probably need 8 to 10 yards or so to get in that comfortable field goal range for Younghoe Koo. As Evans, we had a man in that spot. Jerry Sexton was there to maybe knock it down, intercept it, but did not see it coming, as great timing on display between Morris Allen and Evans. Now up to the 27, back out in the I formation. They will get for Williams, who gets some more yardage there, brought down by Jalen Thompson, as the Snowhawks burn one of their timeouts, just one remaining now. And it's looking pretty bleak at this point. They go back for Williams, as he does get ahead for the first down, now to the 15. And with that, the Rams will send out Younghoe Koo for the 32-yard game-winning field goal, as that one is up, and that one is good. And the Rams win this one on the road on Thursday Night Football. Some great football in this game, divisional battle, but just not enough for us to persevere through as we fall in this one. The Rams now, 5-3 on the season. Our Snowhawks fall to 3-6, as we're kind of slipping into similar form that we were in last season, but very tough schedule here so far in year 4, and we have a lot of things to improve on, but definitely some bright spots. Lucas McDonald led a good charge there at the end of the game, despite 2 interceptions prior. And Will Evans, what a game he had there, leading the way for the Rams. But that's not it in this episode. We're going to sim ahead one more week, and then we'll call it a day here in this Salt Lake City Snowhawks franchise. And it is worth noting that Andrew Van Ginkel is the NFC Defensive Player of the Week after an 8-tackle, 5-sack performance, as he joins Cole Holcomb, 11 tackles, a sack for Denver. Patrick Mahomes still slinging it around, his 4th AFC Player of the Week honor. And then Will Levis, now quarterbacking the Carolina Panthers, 200 passing yards and 3 touchdown passes. Now, to close this episode, we will just advance a week as we get 10 games into this year 4 season up against the Cincinnati Bengals, as we try to avoid the 3-7 start, trying to get to win number 4, as we will see here just shortly. And we do get the win there. So a big time win to end this episode, as we do go out on a high note, and we do match last season's win total already. With 7 games left to play, we set our season win goal at 7. So if we can win 3 more here down the stretch, that will bode very well for our team and the ascension and direction that we are headed. But this is where I'm going to leave you folks. Thank you so much for watching. We will just run through the stats real quick here. A tough loss there against the Rams, as we fell there in overtime despite a valiant comeback effort. Lucas McDonald here out dueling Joe Burrow, who's at 99 overall now. McDonald 307 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, as he completed 70%, a very good bounce back effort, which was very much needed. Not much there on the ground. Carlos Alvarez, another touchdown, as he went 5 for 121. Marvin Harrison Jr., 6 for 97, 2 touchdown catches for Mark Andrews. I think his first 2 of the season. Defensively, Matthew Torrance with 12 tackles, 10 for Max Melton. And let's see about sacks, nothing there, and no interceptions. But as always, everybody, it's been real, and be well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.